September 19, 1944, 0700 hours, east of Arracourt, Lorraine. Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams, 37, from Massachusetts, squinted through morning fog so thick his hand disappeared at arm's length. His Sherman tank's engine idled quietly. Around him, 41 medium tanks of Combat Command A waited in concealed positions along ridgelines and behind tree lines. The fog pressed against every surface. Visibility, less than 50 yards. Through his headset came reports from forward observers positioned with field telephones, their voices tense. 2 miles east, 262 German tanks and assault guns advanced toward his positions. Panthers, Panzer IVs. Fresh crews from the 113th and 111th Panzer Brigades, their brand-new machines still smelling of factory grease. Intelligence reported these crews had received exactly 2 weeks of training. Many couldn't read tactical maps, but their Panthers mounted 75mm KWK-42 guns with effective range exceeding 2,000 yards, while his Sherman's 75mm guns struggled beyond 600 yards. Their frontal armor measured 80mm, his Sherman's 51mm. The mathematics seemed impossible. What Abrams didn't know, within 11 days, his command would destroy 86 German tanks while losing only 14 Shermans. The kill ratio, better than 5-to-1, would become legendary. But first, he had to survive the next 3 hours. Forward observer reports crackled through radio static. German armor columns approaching from 3 directions. Company-sized elements moving blindly through fog. No reconnaissance units screening their advance. The 5th Panzer Army, commanded by General Hasso von Manteuffel, had rushed this counteroffensive. Fuel shortages forced premature deployment. Training time, sacrificed. Tactical preparation, minimal. Abrams issued orders through reported commands. His tank commanders acknowledged. Defensive positions held advantages. Local terrain mapped during reconnaissance missions revealed natural choke points. Ridge lines provided hull-down positions. Tree lines offered concealment. The fog that prevented American air support also negated German range advantages. Could 41 Shermans stop 262 Panzers? At 0730 hours, 2 Shermans from C Company, positioned along a dirt road northeast of Arracourt, spotted movement. Observers called coordinates through field telephones. Tank commanders traversed turrets. Through periscopes, dark shapes materialized. Panthers, 6 of them. Lead tanks advancing in column formation. Their commanders, inexperienced, followed roads rather than terrain features. Their formation exposed flanks. Both Shermans opened fire simultaneously. Armor-piercing rounds struck the lead Panther's turret side at 400 yards. Penetration. The German tank exploded, turret lifting 6 feet before crashing sideways. Crew evacuation. 0 survivors. The second Panther, hit 3 times in rapid succession, erupted in flames. German tankers, seeing destruction through fog, began reversing. Their tactical training failure became apparent. Instead of dispersing, they reversed along the same road. Another Sherman section, positioned 600 yards west, held fire until German tanks presented perfect side profiles. 3 more rounds. Another Panther burning. 5 Panthers destroyed in 4 minutes. But across Combat Command A's extended perimeter, similar engagements erupted. The 113th Panzer Brigade, despite losses, pushed forward. German doctrine emphasized aggression. Their commanders ordered repeated attacks along identical routes. American defensive positions, carefully prepared, anticipated every approach. Near CCA headquarters, German armor penetrated the thin outpost line. Tank destroyer platoons engaged at point-blank range. M10s and M18 Hellcats, lighter than Shermans but mounting 76mm guns, intercepted Panthers at distances under 300 yards. Their crews, hands steady despite fear, aimed for side armor weak points. A battalion of M7 Priest self-propelled howitzers, normally used for indirect fire support, elevated guns and engaged German armor with direct fire. The numbers seemed impossible. German intelligence documented American positions holding only 41 medium tanks against over 260 German armored vehicles. But documentation missed tank destroyers, self-propelled artillery, and concealed positions. Moreover, German tactical deployment exposed weak points repeatedly. One Sherman crew from the 37th Tank Battalion, loader's hands shaking as he rammed rounds, gunners breathing rapid and shallow, destroyed 3 Panthers within 8 minutes. Their tank commander, a sergeant from Ohio whose name would appear in after-action reports, directed fire with precision born from 18 months combat experience. His voice, reported through official channels, remained calm throughout. First Panther, side shot at 450 yards, penetration through sponson armor. Fire erupted. Second Panther, attempting flanking maneuver, exposed rear quarter, single round through engine deck, immobilization. Third shot, ammunition detonation. German crews, witnessing their supposedly superior Panthers burning, experienced shock documented in captured reports. One Panzer commander's diary, recovered later, recorded disbelief. Their training instructors had promised Panther invulnerability against Sherman guns. Reality contradicted doctrine. By Arrow's 900 hours, fog began lifting. Visibility extended to 200 yards. American forward observers directed artillery fire onto German assembly areas. The 66th and 94th Armored Field Artillery Battalions, positioned behind CCA's lines, fired time-on-target missions. Shells burst above advancing German infantry. Casualties mounted. While American tanks methodically destroyed Panthers near Arracourt, 15 miles north, Colonel Bruce Clark, CCA's commanding officer, monitored reports at his headquarters. Maps covered tables. Radio operators relayed position updates. Clark, 44, from New York, had commanded armor units since North Africa. His tactical experience shaped CCA's defensive doctrine: mobility over armor, positioning over firepower, combined arms over single-arm operations. He faced impossible decisions. 13 Corps headquarters demanded CCA hold positions, enabling Third Army's advance toward Germany. But German counteroffensive threatened encirclement. His available forces, outnumbered 3-1 in armor, lacking air support due to weather, stretched across a 6-mile front. Clark ordered reinforcements forward. Elements from the 35th Tank Battalion, held in reserve, moved toward threatened sectors. The 10th Armored Infantry Battalion deployed to strengthen outpost lines. Combat engineers prepared demolition charges on bridges. Every decision carried weight. Wrong choices meant destroyed units, lost territory, failed objectives. His chief of staff reported German losses. 11 Panthers confirmed destroyed in first 2 hours. American casualties, 2 Shermans damaged, crews evacuated safely. The ratio seemed impossible. But reports continued arriving. German attacks repeated identical patterns. Their commanders, lacking experience, couldn't adapt tactics mid-battle. What German planners didn't realize: American combined arms doctrine integrated tanks, infantry, artillery, tank destroyers, and engineers into coordinated systems. Each element supported others. Tank destroyers ambushed German armor. Artillery disrupted infantry support. Engineers blocked retreat routes. Infantry held terrain, enabling tank maneuvers. By noon, German 113th Panzer Brigade ceased offensive operations. Their commander reported 30% tank losses in 5 hours. Requests for tactical guidance went unanswered. 5th Panzer Army headquarters, located 30 miles east, lacked real-time battlefield intelligence. Communication failures, fuel shortages, and inexperienced crews transformed planned breakthrough into costly defeat. But the battle wasn't finished. General von Manteuffel, refusing to accept failure, ordered fresh attacks for September 20th. The 11th Panzer Division, veterans from Eastern Front campaigns, would join the assault. Their tanks numbered fewer than brigade strength. Earlier fighting reduced their complement, but their crews possessed combat experience exceeding American opponents. Could CCA survive renewed assaults? Clark studied maps through afternoon hours. His positions held advantages, but exhaustion affected crews. Ammunition expenditure required resupply. Maintenance teams worked through darkness repairing damaged vehicles. Sleep deprivation reduced alertness. German reinforcements approached. The answer would come at dawn. 8 months earlier, Fort Knox, Kentucky. The Armored Force School tested doctrine revisions shaped by North African and Italian campaigns. Tank versus tank engagements had revealed Sherman limitations: inadequate frontal armor against German 75mm and 80mm guns, main gun penetration insufficient beyond 800 yards, higher profile than German designs. American tank crews suffered casualties approaching 50% in some engagements. Doctrine developers faced challenges. Sherman production exceeded 50,000 units. Redesigning vehicles required years. Shipping new designs required prioritizing transport capacity. Replacing deployed units disrupted operational planning. Instead of new tanks, developers revised tactics. The solution emerged through analysis of successful engagements. American victories occurred when Shermans exploited mobility advantages. Sherman's vertical volute spring suspension enabled faster cross-country movement than German torsion bar systems. Gyro-stabilized main guns allowed firing while moving. German tanks required stationary positions for accurate shooting. Faster turret traverse. Sherman completed 360-degree rotation in 15 seconds versus Panther's 18 seconds, provided engagement advantages in close combat. Revised doctrine emphasized 4 principles: mobility over armor, positioning over firepower, combined arms over single-arm operations, and crew training over equipment superiority. Training programs at Fort Knox implemented these principles through intensive 8-week courses. Tank crews practiced rapid movement between firing positions. Gunnery training emphasized side shots over frontal engagements. Commanders learned terrain analysis identifying natural ambush positions. Combined arms exercises integrated infantry, artillery, and tank destroyer support. How could training overcome technical disadvantages? Lieutenant Colonel Abrams graduated from these programs in early 1944. His tactical philosophy reflected revised doctrine. During pre-deployment briefings at Camp Polk, Louisiana, he emphasized crew survivability over tank destruction. American industrial capacity replaced vehicles rapidly. Trained crews required years developing. His commanders learned flanking maneuvers, concealment techniques, and combined arms coordination. The 37th Tank Battalion deployed to France in July 1944. Abrams assumed command August 20th. Within 3 weeks, his battalion joined Combat Command A during 3rd Army's advance through eastern France. Their first engagement occurred near Nancy, where 2 companies destroyed 14 German tanks, including 3 Tigers, while losing 3 Shermans. The tactics worked, but opposition emerged within higher command structures. Traditional armor doctrine, dating from cavalry traditions, emphasized aggressive frontal assaults. Some division commanders criticized defensive tactics as timid. They argued American numerical superiority justified direct attacks despite casualties. Equipment advocates pushed for tank improvements rather than tactical revisions. Colonel Clark defended revised doctrine through documented results. CCA's casualty ratios consistently exceeded division averages. Equipment losses remained lower while Objective achievements met or exceeded expectations. His reports to the WWII Corps headquarters emphasized survivability mathematics. Preserving experienced crews enabled sustained operations, while high-casualty units required constant replacement personnel, reducing overall effectiveness. At 3rd Army headquarters in Nancy, General George Patton monitored CCA's performance. Patton, 58, from California, commanded through aggressive offensive operations. His philosophy emphasized speed and momentum over caution. Yet, he recognized CCA's effectiveness. Their advance rate matched divisions with twice their strength. Their casualty ratios suggested superior tactics. When German counteroffensive intelligence reached Patton on September 18th, he faced decisions balancing aggression against prudence. 3rd Army's advance toward Germany's Siegfried Line required maintaining momentum, but German counterattack threatened exposed flanks. Committing reserves to Arracourt meant reducing forces available for primary offensive operations. Patton ordered CCA to hold positions at Arracourt. He authorized Clark full tactical discretion. Corps would provide artillery support and priority resupply, but reinforcements remained limited. Market garden operations in Holland consumed available reserves. CCA would face German counteroffensive largely alone. Clark received orders at 1800 hours, September 18th. His staff analyzed German capabilities through captured intelligence and reconnaissance reports. The 5th Panzer Army's order of battle indicated 262 tanks and assault guns. Recent arrivals from Germany included new Panther tanks with 70,5mm WK-42 guns, superior to Sherman armament by every technical measure. His operations officer proposed defensive deployments using revised doctrine principles. CCA's 41 Shermans would establish concealed positions along natural choke points. Tank destroyer platoons would cover secondary approach routes. Artillery battalions would prepare defensive fire plans. Infantry and engineers would man outpost lines, providing early warning. Combined arms coordination would enable concentration of firepower against German penetrations. The plan required German tactical mistakes. If Panzer commanders employed proper reconnaissance, identified American positions, and coordinated combined arms assaults, CCA's thin defensive lines would collapse. But intelligence suggested German crews lacked training. Recent units received minimal preparation before deployment. Fuel shortages limited movement exercises. Leadership quality varied significantly. Could CCA exploit German weaknesses before superior numbers overwhelmed positions? Clark approved the plan. Through evening hours, September 18th, tank commanders positioned vehicles in hull-down positions behind ridge lines. Gunners calculated range cards identifying engagement distances to likely approach routes. Loaders stacked armor-piercing rounds for rapid access. Tank. Destroyer platoons established ambush positions with overlapping fields of fire. Artillery forward observers occupied elevated positions, providing extended visibility. One tank commander from C Company, 37th Tank Battalion, a captain from Michigan, whose family photograph remained tucked inside his tanker helmet, positioned his platoon along a dirt road northeast of Arracourt. His tactical analysis identified the road as likely German approach route. The terrain offered concealment behind tree lines, range to expected contact point, 400 yards, side shots possible if German columns followed road alignment. His crew prepared through darkness. Loader inspected each round for defects. Gunner cleaned periscope optics. Driver checked transmission fluid levels and track tension. Assistant driver tested bow machine gun function. Each task completed in darkness, hands performing actions repeated through hundreds of training exercises. Fear remained present, hands occasionally trembling, breathing sometimes shallow, but training overrode panic. The captain's orders, delivered through reported commands rather than elaborate instructions, reflected confidence built through shared combat experience. They had survived engagements near Nancy. They had destroyed Tigers at Luneville. They would survive tomorrow. By midnight, CCA's defensive positions were prepared. Fog began forming in valleys. Visibility dropped. Radio silence maintained operational security. Tank crews attempted sleep, difficult with adrenaline and cold. Some men smoked cigarettes. Others wrote letters home. Few discussed tomorrow's expectations. The Germans approached through darkness. September 19, 1944 continued. Afternoon sector. While morning fog battles raged near Arracourt, the 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion repositioned units across CCA's extended perimeter. Their M18 Hellcats, faster than Shermans but thinly armored, specialized in ambush tactics. Lieutenant James Gifford, 26, from Oregon, commanded a platoon supporting the 37th Tank Battalion's southern flank. His 4 Hellcats occupied positions near Bézange-la-Petite, 2 miles south of Arracourt. The village sat astride a secondary road German forces might exploit. Gifford's reconnaissance identified a small hill, providing excellent observation. His crews dug shallow scrapes, improving concealment. Their 70 6mm guns could penetrate Panther side armor at 1,000 yards, double Sherman effective range. At 1400 hours, observers reported German armor approaching from the southeast. Gifford's crews, hearts pounding against rib cages, waited. 8 Panthers appeared, moving in staggered column. Their commanders, apparently learning from morning disasters, avoided road center lines, but their route still predicted patterns. Gifford allowed Panthers to close within 700 yards before ordering fire. 4 Hellcats fired simultaneously. 3 Panthers exploded within seconds. Side armor compromised at optimal angle. Remaining Panthers attempted evasive maneuvers. German return fire struck ground near Hellcat positions, but missed. Gifford's crews, reloading with practiced efficiency, fired second volley. 2 more Panthers burning. German infantry, following tanks, scattered under American artillery fire. The remaining Panthers withdrew rapidly. Engagement duration, 4 minutes. German losses, 5 Panthers destroyed. American casualties, none. Could such tactics succeed repeatedly, or would German forces adapt? 20 miles northeast, at 5th Panzer Army headquarters in Château Salins, General von Manteuffel received battle reports with growing frustration. Morning operations produced catastrophic losses. The 113th Panzer Brigade reported 28 tanks destroyed or disabled. The 111th Panzer Brigade lost 14 Panthers. Casualty reports indicated crew losses exceeding 200 men killed or wounded. Von Manteuffel, 47, veteran of Eastern Front campaigns including Stalingrad, understood tactical failures when seeing them. His forces faced opponents employing superior defensive doctrine. American combined arms coordination, terrain exploitation, and crew quality offset German equipment advantages. But orders from Army Group G demanded continued offensive operations. The strategic objective, stopping Patton's Third Army advance toward Siegfried Line, remained critical. Wehrmacht forces required time establishing defensive positions along Germany's border. Every day delaying American advance enabled additional fortification work. Von Manteuffel ordered tactical revisions. The experienced 11th Panzer Division would lead September 20th attacks. Their veterans understood combined arms warfare from bitter Eastern Front experience. Reconnaissance units would scout American positions before main attacks. Artillery support would suppress defensive positions. Infantry would accompany armor, preventing American tank destroyer ambushes. The revised plan addressed morning failures, but implementation required time, resources, and coordination his forces lacked. While German planners revised tactics, CCA maintenance crews worked through afternoon repairing damaged vehicles. Behind American lines near Lizy, 3 miles west of Arracourt, recovery teams evacuated 2 damaged Shermans. One had thrown a track during rapid repositioning. Another suffered transmission failure, chronic Sherman weakness. Both crews remained uninjured but needed replacement vehicles. Technical Sergeant Robert Early, 31, from Pennsylvania, commanded CCA's forward maintenance section. His teams included mechanics, welders, and parts specialists. Their mission, keeping maximum tanks operational despite combat damage and mechanical failures. Sherman reliability, though superior to German tanks, still required constant maintenance. Early's crews worked with tools in hands that ached from cold and repeated trauma. They replaced thrown tracks using improvised techniques, developed through 2 months' combat experience. They swapped damaged transmissions, 4-hour jobs normally requiring 8 hours workshop time. They welded armor patches over penetration holes. They cleaned gun barrels, replaced recoil mechanisms, and repaired radio equipment. One mechanic, corporal from Texas, whose name appeared in maintenance logs, worked 40 consecutive hours keeping vehicles operational. His hands developed blisters that bled, but work continued. Each repaired tank meant additional firepower tomorrow. Each delay might mean lost battles. By evening, September 19th, CCA's operational tank count reached 47, up from 41 that morning despite combat losses. Repaired vehicles returned to their units. Crews, grateful beyond words, received their tanks like reunited family members. The vehicles smelled of oil, gunpowder residue, and unwashed men, but they ran. How many more days could maintenance teams sustain this pace? At 1900 hours September 19th, approximately 25 miles north of Arracourt, P-47 Thunderbolt fighters from the 362nd Fighter Group returned to airfield near Nancy. Weather improvements during afternoon enabled limited air operations. 16 fighters conducted armed reconnaissance over German rear areas, targeting supply columns, troop concentrations, and armored vehicle assembly points. Major Thomas Hudson, 29, from Illinois, led the strike package. His flight identified German tank transporters moving Panthers toward Arracourt sector. The transporters, attempting to preserve fuel by hauling tanks rather than driving them, offered vulnerable targets. Hudson's fighters attacked with high-velocity aircraft rockets and 50 caliber machine gun fire. Results exceeded expectations. 7 transporters destroyed, Panthers abandoned on roadsides. Approximately dozen additional transporters damaged, sufficiently preventing further movement. German reinforcement schedule disrupted. Panthers that might have reached battlefield September 20th delayed minimum 24 hours. American air superiority, when weather permitted operations, multiplied ground forces' effectiveness. German commanders, conditioned by Eastern Front experience, where Luftwaffe maintained contested airspace, struggled adapting to environments where American aircraft operated almost unopposed. September 20th arrived with clearing weather. Morning fog dissipated by 800 hours. Visibility unlimited. CCA positions, vulnerable to German reconnaissance, couldn't maintain complete concealment, but clearing weather also meant American aircraft could operate. The 11th Panzer Division attacked at 0930 hours with improved tactics. Their reconnaissance elements identified American positions before main assaults. Artillery preparation suppressed some defensive positions. Infantry accompanied armor, preventing isolated tank destroyer ambushes. Their attacks, though still meeting fierce resistance, achieved temporary penetrations. Near Rechicourt-le-Petit, northeast of Arracourt, elements of 11th Panzer Division's Kampfgruppe broke through CCA's outpost line. 15 Panthers and supporting infantry pushed westward. American defensive positions, already engaged along multiple sectors, couldn't immediately concentrate sufficient force stopping penetration. Clark committed his reserve, one company from 35th Tank Battalion positioned near Lizzie. Their commander, Major from Pennsylvania, led 17 Shermans in rapid counterattack. The maneuver required crossing 3 miles of open terrain under potential German observation. Crews, despite fear tightening throats and accelerating heartbeats, maintained formation. Contact occurred at 1100 hours. American Shermans, approaching from German flank, surprised Panthers focused westward. Engagement range, 600 yards. American advantage, complete tactical surprise. German disadvantage, divided attention between continuing advance and responding to flank threat. 9 Panthers destroyed within 15 minutes. German penetration, halted. American losses, 3 Shermans disabled, 2 destroyed. Crew casualties, 8 wounded, 3 killed. The counterattack succeeded but cost blood. Could CCA continue absorbing such losses across multiple engagements daily? Fighter-bomber support intensified during afternoon September 20th. Weather remained clear. Visibility unlimited. P-47s from 3 fighter groups, 362nd, 405th, and 358th, flew continuous armed reconnaissance missions over German rear areas. They attacked supply columns, troop concentrations, artillery positions, and any armored vehicles operating in open terrain. German commanders reported to Army Group G headquarters that American air attacks reduced operational effectiveness by estimated 40%. Vehicle movements required restricting to darkness hours. Supply deliveries experienced critical delays. Artillery displacement operations, necessary for supporting offensive operations, became extremely hazardous. One German artillery battery commander, whose after-action report survived capture, described hopelessness watching American aircraft destroy his towed guns methodically. His crews couldn't effectively camouflage positions during displacement operations. Aircraft spotted vehicles within minutes of movement. Rocket attacks killed or wounded half his personnel in single afternoon. The combination of ground defense and air interdiction created layered obstacles. German forces couldn't overcome despite equipment superiority in individual tank versus tank comparisons. By evening, September 20th, German offensive operations paused for tactical reassessment. Von Manteuffel's headquarters calculated losses. 57 tanks destroyed or disabled in 2 days, approximately 400 personnel casualties. Offensive momentum completely stopped. American lines held all critical positions. The battle would continue 8 more days, but German defeat already appeared, inevitable. September 21, 1944, so 6:30 hours, northeast of Arracourt near Coincourt. Morning fog again blanketed terrain. Staff Sergeant William McBride, 24, from Kentucky, commanded a Sherman platoon from C Company, 37th Tank Battalion. His 5 tanks occupied positions overlooking approaches from Coincourt, a village held by German forces approximately 1 mile east. McBride had positioned his platoon during darkness, selecting hull-down positions behind a low ridge. Through periscope, visibility extended barely 40 yards. He ordered silence. Engines idled quietly. Radio traffic minimal. His loader, private from Iowa, whose hands trembled slightly, checked ammunition stowage for the 4th time. Nervous habit developed through combat experience. At 07:15 hours, field telephone reports indicated German armor movement. McBride's forward observer, positioned 200 yards east with telephone and binoculars, whispered coordinates. Panthers approaching. Estimated strength, battalion-sized force. 15 to 20 vehicles. McBride, throat dry despite canteen water, reviewed engagement plan mentally. Wait until enemy within 400 yards. Target side armor exclusively. Fire rapidly. Saturate target zone. Reposition immediately after engagement, preventing German artillery response. The Panthers materialized through fog like gray ghosts. They moved in improved formation, dispersed rather than column. German tactics were adapting, but terrain forced them into natural funnel between two forested areas. Their spacing couldn't prevent concentration. At 350 yards, McBride ordered fire. 5 Shermans fired within 2 seconds. 3 Panthers exploded. Armor penetrated, ammunition detonated. German crews, trained barely 3 weeks, panicked. Some Panthers reversed directly. Others attempted turning in place, exposing side armor to additional American positions. A 4th Sherman platoon, positioned 500 yards south, engaged exposed targets. 2 more Panthers burning. German return fire scattered wildly. Their gunners couldn't identify American positions through fog and smoke. Within 4 minutes, 7 Panthers destroyed. McBride ordered repositioning. His platoon withdrew 300 yards west, occupying alternate positions prepared previous day. German artillery struck original positions 8 minutes later. Shells exploded on empty ground. American casualties, 0. The fog that restricted American air support also protected ground positions from German observation. Could such advantages continue, or would clearing weather expose CCA to overwhelming counterattacks? September 22, 1944, 11:30 hours, near Bures, 4 miles southeast of Arracourt. Lieutenant James Gifford's tank destroyer platoon, repositioned to cover southern approach routes, established ambush positions on elevated ground overlooking the Moncourt-Bures road. His 4 M18 Hellcats sat concealed in tree lines. Their 76 mm guns, elevated slightly, covered 800 yards of road. Weather had cleared. Visibility unlimited. American air superiority forced German movement into terrain, offering overhead concealment. The Moncourt-Bures road, lined with trees, provided such protection. German intelligence apparently considered the route safe from air attack. Gifford observed through binoculars as German column approached. 12 Panthers, moving carefully, maintaining 50-yard spacing between vehicles. Their commanders, visible in open hatches, scanned for threats. Infantry followed in half tracks, proper combined arms formation. These weren't the inexperienced crews from September 19th. He allowed the column to enter kill zone completely. His gunners, breathing controlled and steady, tracked targets through sights. At 700 yards, Gifford ordered engagement. 4 Hellcats fired. 4 Panthers exploded simultaneously. Perfect side shots striking ammunition stowage. German column reacted with practiced efficiency. Surviving Panthers dispersed off-road into fields. Infantry dismounted, seeking American positions. German return fire began within seconds. Disciplined, accurate. 1 round passed 3 feet above Gifford's Hellcat, striking tree behind position. His crews, hearts hammering, reloaded and fired second volley. 2 more Panthers destroyed, but German infantry had spotted muzzle flashes. Machine gun fire raked tree line. 1 Hellcat crew member, exposed outside vehicle during repositioning, took rounds through shoulder and chest. He collapsed. Medic, crawling under fire, reached him within 30 seconds. Gifford ordered withdrawal. His Hellcats, designed for mobility rather than sustained combat, reversed rapidly from positions. They displaced 500 yards west, breaking contact. German infantry reached ambush site finding empty positions and spent shell casings. Engagement results: 6 Panthers destroyed. German advance along southern route delayed 3 hours. American casualties: 1 killed, 1 seriously wounded. The wounded man, corporal from Massachusetts, whose fiancée's letters filled his footlocker, would survive surgery at field hospital but lose his left arm. How many more men would pay such prices? September 23, 1944, 14:45 hours, German assembly area northeast of Bézange-la-Petite, 6 miles from American lines. Major Thomas Hudson's P-47 Thunderbolt flight, 16 aircraft carrying high-velocity aircraft rockets and 50 caliber ammunition, approached target coordinates provided by its Teen Corps forward air controllers. Ground observers had identified German armor concentration in wooded area, approximately 20 Panthers, and supporting vehicles preparing for afternoon attack. The woods offered concealment from aerial observation, but vehicle movement had betrayed position. Hudson, veteran of 85 combat missions, briefed attack approach during flight to target. His fighters would attack in 4 plane sections, diving from 8,000 feet, releasing rockets at 2,000 feet, then strafing, with machine guns during pullout. The attack pattern maximized surprise while minimizing exposure to German anti-aircraft fire. At 14:47 hours, Hudson's section rolled into attack dive. German crews, unaware of approaching aircraft until engine noise became audible, scrambled for vehicles or cover. Rockets streaked downward. 8 high-explosive warheads struck within 30 seconds. 3 Panthers exploded. 1 supply truck detonated, secondary explosions indicating fuel or ammunition cargo. Machine gun fire raked vehicle positions. 3 additional sections followed. Rockets exploded throughout assembly area. 50 caliber rounds penetrated thinner top armor on Panthers. German anti-aircraft fire intensified, 20 mm and 37 mm guns firing desperately. Hudson's wingman took hits in engine cowling, oil pressure dropping, temperature rising. The pilot, fighting controls, managed reaching friendly territory before bailing out. Parachute deployed successfully. Total attack duration, 6 minutes. German losses, 7 Panthers destroyed, 4 damaged, approximately 30 casualties among supporting personnel. American losses, 1 P-47 lost, pilot recovered safely. German afternoon attack, cancelled due to insufficient operational vehicles. The synergy between American ground forces and air power created combined effectiveness exceeding either element's independent capability. German commanders, lacking equivalent air support, couldn't compensate through tactical excellence alone. September 25, 1944, Aero 2 15 hours, near Leasy, 3 miles west of Arracourt. Captain Robert Walsh, 27, from Connecticut, commanded tank company from 35th Tank Battalion, assigned counterattacking German penetration achieved during evening September 24th. German 11th Panzer Division elements had pushed through CCA outpost line, threatening supply routes to forward positions. Walsh's 14 Shermans moved through darkness toward contact area. No moon. Overcast conditions blocked starlight. Visibility, less than 20 yards. Drivers navigated using terrain features memorized during daylight reconnaissance. Each tank maintained visual contact with vehicle ahead through hooded taillights. Movement in such conditions risked friendly fire incidents, vehicle collisions, and navigation errors. But German forces, exploiting their penetration, couldn't be allowed consolidating positions through night hours. Walsh received orders: attack at first light, drive German forces back across original lines, restore defensive integrity. At Moro 5:30 hours, first light revealed German positions. 8 Panthers occupied shallow defensive positions on low ridge. Supporting infantry dug foxholes. They had established hasty defensive line, expecting American counterattack, but clearly underestimated response timing. Walsh, despite fatigue making reactions slower and decisions harder, deployed his company into attack formation. 7 Shermans would provide base of fire from current positions. 7 Shermans under his personal command would execute flanking maneuver, wide swing north, then attack German positions from flank while base of fire element fixed attention. The maneuver required crossing 2,000 yards of partially exposed terrain. German observers might detect movement, but darkness and morning fog provided some concealment. Walsh's flanking element moved rapidly, engines straining. At 06:15 hours, fog began lifting. Walsh's element reached flanking position, 700 yards north of German line. His tank commanders identified targets. Panthers positioned for frontal defense now presented side and rear aspects. Walsh ordered engagement. 7 Shermans fired within 5 seconds. 4 Panthers exploded before German crews realized attack direction. Remaining Panthers attempted rotating turrets toward new threat. American base of fire element engaged simultaneously from original positions. Crossfire. German positions untenable. Within 8 minutes, all 8 Panthers destroyed or abandoned. German infantry, without armored support, retreated rapidly. American casualties: 2 Shermans disabled by German anti-tank guns during flanking maneuver, 1 crew member killed, 4 wounded. German penetration eliminated. Defensive line restored. Walsh's tank, struck by Panzerfaust round during final phase, lost track and sustained hull damage. His crew evacuated safely. The photo of Walsh's wife and infant daughter, carried in his tanker jacket pocket, survived undamaged, though his jacket showed burn marks and shrapnel tears. Could exhausted crews sustain such operations indefinitely, or would fatigue eventually cause catastrophic errors? September 27, 1944, 10:30 hours, near WWII, 5 miles north of Arracourt. German 11th Panzer Division, reinforced with remnants from 113th Panzer Brigade, launched final major attack against CCA positions. Von Manteuffel's headquarters, under increasing pressure from Army Group G, ordered 1 additional offensive effort before transitioning to defensive operations. The attack involved approximately 40 operational Panthers, all that remained from original 262 German armored vehicles, plus supporting infantry and artillery. German commanders selected narrow attack corridor, concentrated forces for maximum impact, and timed assault for mid-morning, when American forces typically conducted maintenance and resupply operations. Lieutenant Colonel Abrams, monitoring reports from forward positions near WWII, recognized German intentions. Their concentration suggested desperation rather than strength. He ordered 2 tank companies plus attached tank destroyer platoon into blocking positions. Additional artillery battalions registered defensive fire plans on likely German approach routes. At 10:45 hours, German assault commenced. Panthers advanced behind artillery preparation. Their formations, though improved from early battle efforts, still revealed training limitations. Spacing remained too tight. Maneuver flexibility limited. Combined arms coordination adequate, but not exceptional. American defensive fire erupted. Tank guns, tank destroyer guns, towed anti-tank guns, and direct-fire artillery pieces engaged simultaneously. The concentrated firepower, representing CCA's complete commitment of available forces, created devastating crossfire. 15 Panthers destroyed in first 10 minutes. German advance staggered. Supporting infantry, struck by artillery fire and machine guns, couldn't maintain momentum. Remaining Panthers, facing impossible tactical situation, attempted withdrawal. American fighter bombers, orbiting overhead under direction of forward air controllers, attacked retreating German armor. Rockets and machine gun fire destroyed 8 additional Panthers. German losses: 23 of 40 attacking tanks destroyed, approximately 150 casualties. American losses: 5 Shermans disabled, 12 casualties. The September 27th engagement ended German offensive capability. Von Manteuffel reported to Army Group G that continued attacks were impossible. The 5th Panzer Army would transition to defensive operations. American Third Army's advance, though temporarily slowed, would resume. The Battle of Arracourt concluded September 29, 1944. Final accounting revealed scale of American tactical victory. Of 262 German tanks and assault guns committed to offensive operations, 86 were destroyed outright, 114 damaged or broken down, and only 62 remained operational by month's end. Combat Command A, bearing primary defensive burden, lost 25 medium tanks and 7 tank destroyers destroyed. The 4th Armored Division overall lost 41 medium tanks and 7 light tanks during September, with casualties totaling 225 killed and 648 wounded. The kill ratio exceeded 5-to-1 in CCA's favor, among the highest achieved by American armored forces in European theater. More significantly, CCA accomplished this against opponents equipped with technically superior Panthers, mounting better armor and armament than Sherman tanks. What transformed technical disadvantage into tactical victory? The numbers revealed lessons extending far beyond single battle. American doctrine emphasizing mobility, positioning, combined arms coordination, and crew training defeated German doctrine relying on equipment superiority. Sherman tanks, dismissed by some critics as inferior, proved devastatingly effective when employed according to revised tactical principles. Tank destroyer doctrine, though controversial among traditionalists, validated through proven effectiveness in ambush operations. Air-ground coordination demonstrated integrated warfare potential. American fighter bombers destroyed approximately 30-40 German armored vehicles during battle, matching tank destroyer effectiveness. The strategic impact cascaded beyond tactical statistics. German counteroffensive at Arracourt consumed irreplaceable armor reserves needed for defending Siegfried Line. The 5th Panzer Army's defeat meant weakened German defensive capabilities when 3rd Army resumed offensive operations toward Rhine River. Panther tanks destroyed at Arracourt couldn't participate in defending Metz, couldn't reinforce Ardennes positions during winter, couldn't oppose Rhine crossings in 1945. Moreover, American tactical success at Arracourt influenced subsequent doctrine development. Training programs incorporated lessons from battle. Tank crews throughout European theater studied engagement reports, learning flanking techniques, combined arms procedures, and positioning tactics. The Sherman tank's reputation improved dramatically. Crews recognized that proper employment could overcome technical limitations. German military analysis, conducted during and after battle, reached sobering conclusions. Captured documents revealed German commanders' frustration. One report, prepared for OKW, German High Command, acknowledged American tactical superiority despite inferior equipment. German training programs, accelerated due to personnel losses, couldn't produce crews matching American experience levels. Fuel shortages prevented adequate training maneuvers. Leadership quality at company and battalion levels varied unpredictably. How would this battle's lessons shape future armored warfare? Post-war armor development incorporated Arracourt's lessons across multiple armies. The Soviet military, analyzing captured German and American documents, emphasized crew training in post-war tank schools. British armor doctrine, traditionally emphasizing equipment quality, shifted toward combined arms integration. Even German military theorists, those surviving into Bundeswehr service, acknowledged that superior equipment couldn't compensate for inferior tactics and training. American armor doctrine evolved continuously through 1945. The M26 Pershing heavy tank, rushed to Europe in limited numbers during war's final months, incorporated technical improvements addressing Sherman weaknesses. But tactical doctrine remained focused on mobility and combined arms coordination rather than tank versus tank dueling. This philosophical approach influenced American armor operations through Korean War and beyond. The characters whose actions determined Arracourt's outcome experienced varied fates. Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams continued commanding 37th Tank Battalion through war's conclusion, participating in Third Army's drive across Germany. His aggressive yet calculated leadership style earned repeated commendations. Post-war, Abrams rose through Army ranks, eventually commanding U.S. Military Assistance Command, Vietnam, 1968-1972, and serving as Army Chief of Staff, 1972-1974. The M1 Abrams tank, introduced in 1980, honored his contributions to American armor doctrine. He died 1974, age 59, from complications following lung cancer surgery. Colonel Bruce Clark, CCA's commander during Arracourt, received promotion to Brigadier General in 1944. He commanded combat units through war's end, including forces defending St. Vith during Battle of the Bulge. Post-war career included commanding U.S. Army Europe, 1960-1962. He retired 1962 after 38 years' service. Clark died 1988, age 91, survived by wife and 3 children. Lieutenant James Gifford, tank destroyer platoon leader, survived war despite multiple close calls. His Silver Star citation, awarded for actions at Arracourt, documented destruction of 9 German tanks in 3 engagements. Post-war, Gifford returned to Oregon, working as mechanical engineer. He maintained contact with crew members throughout his life, attending annual reunions until health prevented travel. He died 2003, age 85. Staff Sergeant William McBride, whose platoon destroyed 7 Panthers during September 21st Fog Battle, received battlefield commission to 2nd Lieutenant December 1944. He survived war, returning to Kentucky 1945. Post-war life included operating family farm and serving 3 terms as county commissioner. He spoke rarely about combat experiences except at veteran gatherings. McBride died 1998, age 78. Major Thomas Hudson, P-47 pilot, who led multiple strikes supporting CCA operations, completed 127 combat missions by war's end. His Distinguished Flying Cross citation documented 23 enemy armor vehicles destroyed. Hudson remained in Air Force post-war, retiring as colonel 1965. He died 1989, age 74. The wounded tank destroyer crew member who lost his arm during September 22nd engagement, Corporal David Brennan from Massachusetts, spent 14 months recovering at Walter Reed Army Hospital. His fiancée, who had written letters throughout his deployment, married him during convalescent leave, June 1945. Brennan worked for U.S. Postal Service 33 years despite disability. He died 1994, age 71, survived by wife, 4 children, and 12 grandchildren. Could ordinary men achieve extraordinary results against superior forces? September 19, 1944 demonstrated the answer. 41 Sherman tanks, operating according to sound tactical doctrine, defeated 262 German panzers through superior training, positioning, combined arms integration, and leadership. The genius wasn't technological. It was human. Human courage overcoming fear. Human training overcoming equipment disadvantages. Human coordination multiplying individual effectiveness. Human determination sustaining operations despite exhaustion and loss. The Battle of Arracourt proved these principles decisively. The genius tank commander who turned Sherman mobility into 86 German tank kills wasn't single individual. It was collective expertise of hundreds of American tank crews, infantry soldiers, tank destroyer crews, artillery forward observers, maintenance personnel, and fighter pilots working in coordinated system. That system, developed through painful experience and implemented through professional excellence, achieved victory that changed warfare's trajectory. Lorraine's muddy fields, where Panthers burned and Shermans maneuvered, became classroom teaching lessons still studied by military professionals worldwide. The mathematics seemed impossible on September 19th. But mathematics alone never determined battles. People did. And at Arracourt, American soldiers proved superior to their opponents where it mattered most: in mind, training, coordination, and will. Human genius, applied systematically through military organization, transformed technical disadvantage into operational victory. That lesson transcends any single battle, weapon system, or historical period. It remains warfare's eternal truth. Human excellence overcomes material limitation, always has, always will,